Hey everyone, this is a short lecture on Descartes' meditations, or at least the first two meditations. So the meditations has 6 components, we're only doing the first two, and if you want to read the rest of them, it's a really exciting piece of philosophy, but for our purposes, we're just going to do the first two. That contains the very famous reasoning about existence. So before I talk about what goes on in the first two meditations, I want to say a little bit about the meditations in general and what they're doing in the history of philosophy. So Descartes is a philosopher in the 17th century, and one of his goals with the meditations is to clear away all of the knowledge that people thought they had before that time and build foundations for a new kind of science. And in fact, this is what happens around that time. We have a scientific revolution coming out of the Middle Ages, going into what philosophers call the early modern era, the Renaissance and afterwards. So what Descartes' going to do in the meditations is ultimately it's a constructive goal. He wants to build a new science on new foundations, but in order to do that, he has to tear away the old building. So if you can think of knowledge as a kind of building that rests on foundations, the foundations are things like the justification we provide for knowledge. So if it's a piece of knowledge that the moon orbits the Earth, then we can ask, what's the foundation for that? The foundation could be something like observation. We see the moon, it's out there, it goes around the Earth, and that piece of observational knowledge is a kind of foundation for the knowledge that the moon orbits the Earth. So what Descartes wants to do is apply a kind of bulldozer to the foundations, and his tool for doing this is what we call radical skepticism. So how does this go? He wants to try to doubt everything that can possibly be doubted in order to arrive only at very certain things for the foundation. And then once you build things upon certainties, that means any knowledge you build on top of the foundation is also going to be certain. This is what the method of doubt is doing in meditation 1. So the goal of the first meditation is to try to doubt everything that can be doubted, and the way he goes about doing this is by doubting things sort of one at a time in groups. So he doubts knowledge from the senses, for example, because sometimes your senses are wrong. You see something that looks like it could be maybe a bent stick in water, but when you pull it out, you realize that the stick was straight the whole time, and it only looked like it was bent. So the senses can sometimes deceive you in this kind of way. But, what about things like seeing a tree in front of you? Can you doubt that? Descartes thinks you can because maybe you could be asleep. Sometimes when you're asleep you dream. Dreams seem very real sometimes. And maybe the things that you see around you right now could be images in dreams, not in real life. Descartes even thinks that you could doubt things like that there are material bodies whatsoever, that there are things that come in numbers, or that there's space and time. Those things could be doubted as well because perhaps God could deceive you. Now, Descartes is not totally comfortable with the idea that God could be deceiving you, and so this is why he brings up the idea of an evil demon. The demon, he imagines, is powerful enough to deceive him, and deceive him in any way that he could possibly be deceived. So what the demon is doing here is it's a kind of tool, an imaginative tool for engaging in the most radical doubt possible. Anything that can be doubted will be doubted, and we're going to do it by means of imagining the demon deceiving you. So this is what the function of the demon is. It's to imagine radical doubt, to try to doubt everything that can be doubted. Now, at the beginning of meditation 2, we get a reminder that the method that's going to happen here is to doubt everything that can be doubted. And then you naturally wonder, well, is there anything that I know or that I think I know that cannot possibly be doubted? And this is where we get the famous line about existence. So Descartes thinks, look, here I am sitting thinking, maybe an evil demon is deceiving me about all of my thoughts, impressions, feelings, memories, beliefs, and so on. What can I not doubt about this? Well, certainly I'm sitting here and I'm thinking all these things, and if the demon is deceiving me, then I have to exist. If I didn't exist, the demon couldn't deceive me. Even if I have these false thoughts, false beliefs, false impressions about things, there still has to be a me here that has the false beliefs and so on. So he thinks we can be sure that we exist, or that he, in his state of radical doubt, imagining the demon, he can be sure that he exists. Now, there's much more to the second meditation. He asks things to himself about what can I know about myself, which are very interesting. And there's a very interesting passage about the wax. I'm not going to talk about those things, but they're there for you to read if you want them, and the rest of the meditations as well.